Hello everyone, this is Zochi here, and I'm starting off with a fresh Slay the Spire run today. Slay the Spire is a game where you start off with a character with a deck of cards, and you have to go through a series of levels where you can add cards to your deck, and by building this deck, you can slowly start to become more powerful. And in the end, the end goal is to defeat the boss on the third level of the spire that you traverse. The first character that we're going to play with is the Ironclad, and yeah, let's get right into it. Okay. So let's see. Okay, so like I said, you start off with a deck of cards, as can be seen here. They consist of 3 different cards. You have strikes, defense, and bash. The cost of the cards is shown in the top left corner, and the effects are shown on the card itself. You have several different types of cards. You have attack cards, you have skill cards, and you have powers. And I think that's pretty much it. And yeah, you can use these skills to deal damage to your opponent, block damage from your opponent, or apply status effects that apply debuffs to the enemy, or give you certain buffs, depending on the card that you play. The Ironclad starts off with a relic. Relics are things that you collect throughout the run that can enhance your deck in a certain way. In this case, it heals for 6 at the end of combat, and it's basically a really good relic to sustain after taking a little bit of damage from enemies that you fight. A Slay the Spire run always looks like this, where you have a map with certain paths that you are able to take. In the beginning, you choose one of these starting options, and then follow the path however you want. So if I choose this here, the next one is going to be here, 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 and then here I have a choice again. And the objective is to get stronger as you progress through this act, and then fight the boss at the end. There's 3 acts, so there's going to be 3 bosses, and they're all usually more challenging than the previous one, but that also depends on the deck that you're playing. So right now I'm just looking at possible routes to go through this act. Since this is the first time that I'm playing on this, we start off with a pretty easy difficulty, and this will progressively harder as we go through the game. So you have several different icons here, which are listed on the right. So we have enemy fights, which are shown with this little symbol here. Then we have merchants, where you can buy certain items. You have question marks, which are basically any of these items except for rests and elite, I think. So it's either enemy, it's a treasure, or it can be a merchant, or a event. Events can give you positive things, or cause you to take damage, or it varies a lot. Then you have treasure rooms, which are usually located in the middle of the map. So these give you a certain relic, so it can make you stronger. Usually relics are positive. There are some negative relics as well, though, so yeah, it just depends what you get. But the treasure relics are always a positive thing. Then you have rests, and these are probably one of the most important things in Slay the Spire to make good use of them. At rest, you can regenerate health or you can upgrade cards. So regenerating health is especially important after you've taken a fight that costs a lot of health. I mean, it makes sense. And yeah, that brings me on to my next point. We have, in this top bar, we have health, our hit points, and we have our money pouch, which shows the amount of gold that we have. Like I mentioned, gold can be spent at shops, but also at certain events, depending on what the event is. Health points we will get later on into when we go into the fights. That's easiest to explain. And yeah, like I mentioned, rests, we have the option to either regenerate health if needed, or if we don't need that, we can upgrade our cards to make our deck stronger overall. Then we have elites. Elites have this symbol over here, and they are a boss-like creature that, when defeated, drop a relic, which can be added to the list of relics, which influence how we want to play the deck, depending on the relic that we get. So if I just look at this, map, I straight away notice this path down here. So I can go here, 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 go to this campfire, and then take on 2 bosses. Go to this campfire, and then decide if I want to take a 3rd boss or not. Usually taking early elites is quite tricky because your deck is not very strong yet. The beginner cards are okay to start off with, but they're not that great. So we definitely want to add some more cards to our deck early on to make our deck stronger, to be able to take these elites on, if you want that. The good thing about this path here is that we always have the option to skip the elite. So if we go here and we decide, okay, our deck is not strong enough to fight the elite yet, let's go to the question mark. So that's one option. The next node would be here. We can decide to fight the elite, or we go to this node and take the safer option. So yeah, I think I'll be heading down this route here and see how it goes. Okay, there's a tutorial. I'm just going to skip all of this. If you're interested in that, you can have a look at that yourself. One thing that I'm going to do is enable fast mode, because I would like to go through this in a reasonable amount of time, and that will definitely help. Display some blah blah blah. Display block damage in blue. Sure, why not? Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so this is what one of the enemies looks like. This is the cultists. We start our turn with 5 cards in hand, a certain amount of energy that we have to spend, and an enemy that is doing something. This enemy in particular is using is starting to buff itself, and we don't know what this buff is yet, but we know what its intent is for this turn. So we have a certain amount of cards in hand. We have the rest of our cards are in our deck, and each turn we draw 5 new cards, and the rest of our cards that we didn't use gets discarded. So, is there anything I didn't explain yet? I don't think so. Like I mentioned, block cards prevent damage from our enemies and save us hit points. Damage cards just do direct damage to our enemy, and we can see the amount of hit points over here. So let's see what we can do here. So I know what this enemy is going to do. It's going to buff itself and give itself 5 strength in each successive turn after the first one. So what I want to do is kill the cultist as fast as possible, and for me, the way to do that is by playing the bash card, which applies vulnerable, and this causes my cards to do 50% more damage for the next 2 turns. It would have technically been more damage to just go 3 strikes, but with this 50% bonus, we actually end up with more damage overall in because I have 2 strikes coming up as well. After this, when I've played out my energy, there's nothing else I can do. See, I can't do that anymore. Well, there's a tip for it, and that is when I'm gonna end my turn. My unplayed cards went into my discard pile, which can be seen here, and now I get a set of new cards. This enemy now intends to do 6 damage to us, and got a buff, which is a ritual buff. At the end of this turn, it gains 3 strength. So, like I said, the thing that we want to do is kill it as fast as possible without taking too much damage. In each combat, we can take 6 damage because at the end we will heal for 6 because of our Burning Blood relic. So right now, what I'm looking at is I'm going to strike and strike again, leaving it at 13 health, and then block for 5. Because of the 6 damage that it wants to do, we are blocking for 5 now, which leaves us with 1 damage that we took. There we go. That's another tip. Once our draw pile is empty, our discard pile gets shuffled, and we start off with a completely new hand. So right now it is 13 health. Strikes do 6 damage each, which makes 3 strikes do 18 damage, and that kills it straight away. Okay, now we get a card reward, which shows us cards that we can add to our deck. I'm not going to talk about all of them, but I'm just going to choose the ones that I think are relevant, and I will explain a little bit of why I think they're relevant. So I'm going to take Headbutt here because I want to have a attack that does a lot of damage, and the advantage of Headbutt is that you can take a card from your discard pile and put it on top of your draw pile, making you enabling you to use that card in the next turn. Or if you have any draw cards, then you can maybe even play it in the same turn. So I'm going to take this one over the other 2. So that's the spoils. We got some gold and a new card. So let's proceed. We don't have any options here, so I'll just take the next fight. This is the Jawworm. It's usually a pretty difficult fight. Let me think on how I'm going to approach this. I think I will double block and strike here because it intends to attack for 11. The enemy is intending to block and use a buff. Yeah, we just want to deal a lot of damage in this turn because this is the turn to do it. Next turn it's going to have a shield which blocks our damage, which is sort of acting like our defense. But it's also going to buff itself, so it's going to gain some strength. So it has 26 health right now. And it's going to take 12 more damage because of the 2 strikes. Which brings it down to 14. I don't think I'll be able to kill next turn, so maybe I'll just put a defend on top of my deck to be able to defend next turn. Because, like I said, this Jawworm is going to attack now, and yes, I am. So I can be completely safe by just taking 2 block cards here, and it increases its strength by 3, which means that every attack that the Jawworm does now is 3 stronger. It will block and attack again. We don't know how much it will block for, but we know that it does 10 damage this turn. So in this case, I block for 10. I can attack, but that will be mitigated by its block. But there's no point to playing a defend in this case. So yeah, I can just play whatever. It wouldn't really matter. Okay, so again, it's intending to buff itself, which means this is the turn to do some damage. So I'm going to use bash and then a headbutt to finish it off. After pretty much every fight, you get some gold and a card reward. So let's just get that. I'm going to take anger here to increase the damage output that my deck can do. Damage is a 0 energy card, and each time you play this card, you add a copy of it to your discard pile. So this will increase the amount of cards that you can theoretically play. Okay, let's see. So the easiest thing to do here would just take to do 18 damage to this louse, and kill it that way. This louse has the ability to curl up, which after the first attack, let's just do that. It curls up, causing it to block for 4. And this louse can block for 3 after the first attack. I think I'm just going to kill this louse because we have 12 damage and the louse only has 11 hit points if you count the block as well. And then we have 1 block, but the block only stays for 1 turn and is then discarded. Let's see, the louse has 15 total HP. And since we have 3 strikes in hand, we can just deal 18 damage that way and then kill our opponent. So this is something I haven't talked about yet, and it's potions. After every fight, you have the chance to get potions. There you go. Potions can be used mainly during combat. There's some potions you can also play out of combat, but it's usually during combat that you want to play them or can play them. And there's a variety of potions, and this one is a power potion, which makes me choose 1 of 3 random powers, and they cost 0 this turn. Very useful potion here. Okay, yeah, sure. That is fine. So there's 3 3 sort of levels of cards. I think it's common, uncommon, and rare. Common cards are indicated by this border right here. Again, terribly colorblind, so I don't know what this is. I think it might be gray. And then the ones with the sort of bluish border are uncommon cards. They're not necessarily better, but yeah, they're less common than the common cards, as the name suggests. You always have to think about what fits in the deck the best and make your deck so that it creates a well-balanced deck to deal with enemies up ahead. Right now, this card is not very good for us because when a card is exhausted, draw 1 card. We do not have any cards that have the exhaust mechanic. Taking this card would definitely be a mistake. Just because it's an uncommon card doesn't mean it's good. I'm going to take the Dark Gift, which gives us the exhaust mechanic, but will lock us out of taking this one. I don't want another headbutt. I think having 1 is enough. Maybe focusing a little bit more on defense right here by taking the True Grit is the better option, because we already added 2 damage cards, and anger is definitely a good one to our deck. Let's go to the question mark. Remove a card from your deck, lose 7 HP. Okay, this one requires a card with 10 or more damage. We don't have that. I'm definitely going to do this because I want to get rid of my strikes. Strikes are generally pretty good early game because they provide damage, but are pretty bad late game. So anytime you can get rid of some strikes, especially late game, that's amazing because they only clunk up your deck. They're pretty basic cards, and we want to use our better cards more often. and that way you just optimize your damage. So we have the option to take a hallway fight or a question mark here. I'm more inclined to take a hallway fight because I don't think our damage is very good yet, so I don't know if we can take on this elite. The good thing about hallway fights, so the enemy here, is that we can always add a card to our deck, which can make us stronger, but we may take some damage in the process, which we can heal with our Burning Blood. So that's why I'm more inclined to take the actual enemy fight here over the question mark. Even though the question mark could also well be an enemy. We don't know. But I'm going to take the enemy here. Okay, the Slaver. In the first turn, I'm just going to block. Just block all the damage. Well, that's unfortunate. I'm going to bash Anger and then True Grit. True Grit just exhausts one random card in your hand. Exhausting is a mechanic that I haven't talked about. It's where a card doesn't go into the discard pile but gets exhausted, so it can't. You can't use it this combat again unless you have certain cards that take exhausted cards back and put them either in your discard pile or a hand or something like that. So we just took a little bit of damage. It's not that big a deal. I think we may even have the kill here. Yeah, I think so. So taking a little bit of damage because we have Burning Blood is not a big deal. We can play Anger here, play a Headbutt to take the Anger back on top. We don't need it because the next strike is going to kill anyway. And a Colorless Potion, which can add a colorless card to our hand, and I am going to take either Blood for Blood or Disarm, I think. Okay, especially when it comes to Disarm, you want to look at what kind of enemy we're fighting at the end of this act. So this is the Guardian act. Guardian is usually one of the easier bosses that you can face. There's 3 different bosses that you can face, and there's also, just for the record, there's 3 different elites that you can fight. So you have to think, okay, what if I'm going to encounter which elite or which boss? How am I going to survive this and actually kill these things? As I mentioned, our damage is decent right now with Anger, Headbutt, and Bash. And our survivability is also good. And Disarm is actually a great survivability tool against specifically the Guardian fight. Against the elites, not so much. So Blood for Blood would be better in that case because this card can deal a lot of damage and costs less and less the more damage you take. But yeah, this will take a while to come online, and yeah, I hope that we can finish fights earlier than this will come online. So I'm going to take the Disarm here, and then I'm going to upgrade. So I don't want to rest here. Resting heals you for 30% of your max HP, which is currently 24. And yeah, we are at 74 HP, so yeah, we don't really need the 24 HP. And you can't overheal or anything like that, so you just heal to max, and it would be a waste to rest here. I'm going to Smith, and at this point we have added a few defensive cards to our deck, and we've cut a strike, so an offensive card, so I really want to increase my offense. And I'm either going to do that by upgrading Anger or Bash here, and I think I'm going to upgrade Bash. I think those are going to be the biggest damage upgrades. I think with the potions that we have, we can definitely take on an elite fight, and maybe we can even get a good relic out of this, or a good card at the end to help us with the other elite fights that are up ahead. So these are the sentries. They have the effect, well, there's 3 of them, first of all. And then there's the effect that they have an artifact charge, which is going to negate one debuff that we apply. So if we would play Bash here, they would not be vulnerable, and instead the artifact charge would just be taken away. So Bash here is just a 2-cost 10 damage card, which is not great because Headbutt is a 1 damage, one cost 9 damage card. So Headbutt is almost as good here as Bash. I am going to use my potions in this fight, I think, even though I'm not let me think what kind of powers there are, or what kind of colorless cards there are. I'm personally not a fan of colorless potions, so I think I will just use one of these just to see what we can get. Okay, I'm going to take Mayhem. Mayhem, at the start of your turn, play the top card of your draw pile. It's not very useful in this fight particularly, but it's the best one out of the 3, so that's why I'm going to take this one. So I'm going to upload this to YouTube as well, so if you want to have a look what the other cards do later on, you can check that out there. So I'm going to play Mayhem. Power cards are cards that stay in play. You play them once and then you get the buff shown underneath your character here. And this will stay in play the rest of this combat. So for the rest of this combat, we will start by at the start of your turn, play the top card of your draw pile. These sentries are also applying a negative effect on you. They will put dazes in my deck, and dazes are basically cards that clog up your draw pile, and they do nothing for you. You can't play them, and they're generally just a nuisance. So yeah, this is usually they're very bad for you. That's the bottom line. Okay, so there Mayhem played one of our defend cards, which is great. Now, the funny thing about this fight in particular is that in the first turn, this middle sentry attacks, and these two daze you. Now these two attack, and then this one dazes you, and so on and so on. Here we have dazes. These are unplayable cards and ethereal. Ethereal means if this card is in your hand at the end of the turn, it is exhausted. We already talked about the exhaust mechanic, that it shows up above your draw pile and you can't play them again. Well, we can't play exhausted cards anyway, so that is not a problem for us. Okay, let's block as much as possible and do a little bit of damage. Okay, we got a defend card played again. I am going to kill off this sentry and attack another one. True Grit for some extra block, so I block this damage. And yeah, let's go to the next hand. Oh, we played a Bash, that's not too bad. But what is too bad is that we have dazes in our hands, we can't play them. But we also cannot block against this attack of 9, so yeah, we're just going to take some damage here. We're still pretty healthy, so not that big a deal. We just played a headbutt, so we can return something to the top of our deck, and I'm going to put Anger on top. Anger will help us to generate more attack cards, which will help us to defeat the sentries quicker. So I just played a Disarm. Disarm reduces the strength that these guys have by 2, so they will do 2 less damage. So strength works both in positive ways and in negative ways. And yeah, because this guy doesn't have artifact charts anymore, that went through. Let's see. We definitely want to kill off this guy. Mayhem played a defend for us again. One more defend will block this damage completely, and we're just going to kill off these guys quickly now. Okay, we played another bash, and I'm going to play. What is it? I forget. Bash and the thingy. A headbutt will kill it off. We get some nice healing, and we got a Juzu bracelet. This is a relic like that I mentioned before. Well, there we go. Juzu bracelet says in normal enemy combats are no longer encountered in question mark rooms. Question mark rooms are the rooms that we talked about before with the with the question marks. So like I mentioned, I want to add a little bit more strength into my deck. Disarm is another, like I would take a second disarm if it was offered a little bit later in this act, but right now I just want the damage, and this is actually also card draw. Pommel Strike is a great addition to this deck because we have Anger and Headbutt. So let's say I play Anger, I put Headbutt on top of my... I use Headbutt to put the Anger that I just played on top of my deck, and then played the Pommel Strike. I can immediately draw the Anger again and do more damage that way. So this is a great addition to our deck, actually. Let's move on to the next fight. This time, instead of having 2 lives, we have 3. Let's see how we want to play this. So we can play this very defensively by going defend, Pommel Strike, True Grit. And I think that's not even a bad option here. Or we can just kill one of them. Let's see, how much can this block? This can block 12. So we would still take most likely 7 damage. Not that bad. Taking 7 damage, we heal for 6 at the end of combat. I don't want to True Grit now because it exhausts 1 card at random, which can be my Pommel Strike, and I definitely do not want that. I should have probably Pommel Strike before to see what I get with my drawn card, but yeah, this is completely fine to go ahead and True Grit now. Okay, so these guys are attacking, and this guy is buffing. I am going to strike this guy. Headbutt here for a Pommel Strike, and defend to defend against the 5 damage that we have incoming here. Okay, and this turn just plays itself. There we go. Okay, interesting options. So Perfected Strike deals more damage for each card with Strike in your deck. We removed 1 Strike earlier, but we did add a Pommel Strike into our deck, so it's kind of still okay. But I think I'm going to go for the Inflame, which adds Strength. Like I mentioned, Strength is very good because every successive attack that you do after playing this will do extra damage, and since we have 0 cost cards, that is very effective. Strength gains are very effective in general when you have cards that you can play a lot of. Okay, we have a Bag of Marbles. Bag of Marbles adds 1 vulnerable to enemies at the start of combat. Great relic, not just for removing artifact charges, but also just for damage purposes. So the Gremlin Knob is another elite. This elite is generally considered very powerful because he will also apply vulnerable. He will first buff himself, and then after this buff, every time you play a defend, he will gain strength. And yeah, that is generally pretty bad. So I just want to get attacks in as quickly as possible, kill it as soon as possible. That's the strategy here. So right now I have the option to play Bash, and there's actually several options here. Okay, I can either go Inflame into Strike, or I can go Inflame Bash. or Bash Strike. Bash Strike deals 10 plus 9, so 19 damage. So what is that? And he still has 35 left, if my math is correct. My math is almost never correct, by the way. But it's just like a rough estimate right now. If I would really if I would really be in kill range, then I would actually calculate it properly. But as I'm only doing a rough estimate here, I just want to be able to know, okay, how much health does he approximately have left afterwards? Since we have Strike, Anger, Pommel Strike coming up, which is a lot of damage, I think I'm just gonna go Strike, Bash. I think I'm just gonna go Inflame, Bash in this instance, because that way our next attacks are not only going to be enhanced by the vulnerability, but also by the strength, and I think that nets us the most damage. Let's see how much damage we can actually do, and see, that's almost kill. With True Grit, so like I said, he has a buff now that lets him gain 2 strength whenever we gain energy. I don't really care at this point. He's almost dead. With the next attack skill attack that we get, he's going to be dead. So I really don't care that I take 1 more damage here, because any sort of attack card that we draw will kill him. And there we go. Anchor is another relic, a really good relic actually. Start each combat with 10 block. So that way we can... we're actually very powerful in our first turn here. Our enemies start off with vulnerable, and we start off with block. So that gives us a lot of time to set up our combos in such a way that we can actually deal with stuff. Actually, all of these are pretty good. They all do something else. This is AoE damage. This is block at the end of your turn. So every single turn you get some block at least. And this applies weak and vulnerability. Vulnerability we know. Weakness we don't know yet. It's another debuff that lets enemies deal 25% less damage. Can be very useful against certain enemies. Let's see, which one do I want here? What does our deck need? We do have some damage here. I think our damage is still a little bit on the low side, so I'm considering both of these right now. And I think I'm going to go uppercut here, but I'm not entirely certain about that decision. Because this gives us AoE damage, because at the end of your turn, you lose 1 HP and deal 5 damage to all enemies. So we have fought sentries over here, we have fought Gremlin Knob over here. One of the rules about Slay the Spire is that this enemy cannot be the same as the previous elite that you fought. So this elite here can only be sentries or Lagavulin, so it cannot be Gremlin Knob, which is something to keep in mind, because that means you can prepare for it. And in both cases, I do like the idea of having a combust, because this gives me AoE damage, and like we saw before, sentries consist of 3 enemies, which means that we can do a lot of damage using that card. I'm going to again. So I'm going to be greedy here, and I'm going to smith. I don't want to rest yet. What is it? We are at 50. Yeah, we would heal to almost full HP here, but smithing makes us stronger for the rest of the run. Resting will only help us until the end of the act, because if we defeat this boss, we heal to full anyway. So I'm going to smith here, and I'm going to smith either my inflame or my anger, but I think the inflame is just too strong at this point. Getting 3 strength is amazing. So let's see what the next enemies have in store for us. as you can see here, we start off with 10 block from our anchor, which is great. And I'm going to attack the fungi that is buffing himself. Because I would rather not deal with a buff fungi, and I can kill him straight away because of the vulnerability. Because this fungi died, I got vulnerable. That's their spore cloud effect. So now this guy deals more damage than he did initially. It's still nothing that our anchor block can't handle. So yeah, not that big a deal. So right here, I think we can just kill, no? Yeah, see? Easy peasy kill. No worries. Entropic Brew. Entropic Brew is one of the... Oh, those are really good. Entropic Brew is one of the better potions that you can find. Once you drink it, you fill all your empty slots with random potions. So we can basically go play this elixir, play the power potion, drink the Entropic Brew, and have 3 completely random potions in our potion belt. Okay, Feel No Pain is a great card. Absolutely great. It works with exhaust. So anytime you exhaust a card, you gain 3 block. We do have a few exhaust cards right now. We have the True Grit that exhausts 1 card, and we have the Disarm that exhausts after using it. I don't think it warrants a Feel No Pain just yet, and a Battle Trance always useful. It lets you draw 3 cards, but you cannot draw additional cards this turn, which means that you should just use your draw cards before you use this card. Again, I'm gonna be a greedy fucker and take the 75 gold and lose 11 HP. I'm pretty sure that I can beat the next boss because of all the potions that I have and because our deck is pretty strong right now. But I'm still going to use a power potion just because it's going to make our life a lot easier. And I'm really glad I did this before attacking, because I get to play an Inflame beforehand, and this will allow us to do a lot more damage. Because, yeah, getting Inflame before and on top of the vulnerability that it has because of the bag of marbles is just a great combo. I'm going to play Anger, Headbutt to put this the Anger back on top, and then play 2 more strikes. And look at that, almost, what is that, 60% health only left. And yeah, just continue with damaging. Play the Pommel Strike first to see what we draw. Play the Anger and double defend to block some damage that he does. In this case, I'm going to draw some cards first. And now I'm not sure what to do. I have played this game a lot. I don't even know how many hours I have in this game, but surely over 100, 150, maybe 200 hours. Let me just check actually, just for curiosity's sake. Let me have a look. Slay the Spire. I have 430 hours in this game, so yeah, quite a lot. But there's still situations where there may not be there's probably mathematically one best way to play things, but yeah, there's so many different variables in this game that it's difficult to pinpoint what the best option is. So in this case, I could play Disarm to make my life in the future a little bit easier. I could also play Inflame to get 3 more strength to also make our life a little bit easier in the future. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play Inflame and then just defend as much as possible this turn. In the next turn, he will put a debuff on us, which loses our strength and dexterity, and dexterity is a modifier that reduces block that we gain. But we did get a lot of strength here, so I'm going to play as many Agnors as possible and a strike. And I think in the next turn, well, we only have attacks, so it should be no problem at all to kill him. There we go. And that is 3 elites down. Mercury Hourglass, another really good relic. It deals 3 damage to all enemies that we to all enemies each turn, which is an absolutely great relic. It's very much like the Combust relic that we had, or the Combust card that we added to our deck earlier. So yeah, anytime we will get to fight a multiple enemies at the same time, that's just going to help us a lot, like a lot. So right here we have another disarm that we can take. That's a great option because of the Guardian fight that is coming up. He uses a lot of multi-attacks, so if we reduce strength, we reduce strength on all of the attacks that he does. So that's just a great option to have. There's also a Carnage. Carnage is a card that just deals a lot of damage, but it costs us 2 energy. And right now, our deck is, I wouldn't say low on energy, but it could definitely use some energy. The good thing about this card is that it just deals a massive amount of damage just for 2 energy. And if you enhance that with the vulnerability that we can apply with Bash, you can just get a lot of damage. Right now I want the disarm because I would like to take less damage than deal more damage. That's the reasoning behind it. Upgrading disarm would also be a great option, but I think I want to upgrade my battle trance here. Upgrading draw cards is generally a really good thing in this game. Another draw card that we could upgrade is the Pommel Strike. This increases our drawn cards from 1 to 2 and also increases the damage of the Pommel Strike. But the Battle Trance we will always be able to play, and because it's a 0 energy card, so we can't always play that. Doesn't matter what the turn is, so upgrading that has higher priority. So it starts off with so this is the Guardian. He's going to block on his next turn, and he has the mechanic of Mode Shift. Mode Shift is a mechanic where he shifts off from an offensive mode, which he's in now, to a defensive mode. And in defensive mode, he has some other abilities, which I'm going to cover when we come to it. He shifts mode after a certain amount of damage, and this damage increases throughout the fight. So what you want to do is constantly balance between having him in offensive mode and having him in defensive mode. You want him in defensive mode most of the time, but it can also be tricky to deal with that mode, but I'll come to that later. What I'm going to do here is play Bash to apply more vulnerability, which will make my life easier in the future, and then disarm him, because like I said, this is going to reduce a lot of the damage that he does. Right here he does his big attack for 30, which would outright kill us, but if we mode shift him, we can actually avoid that from happening because he shifts his mode, and that also changes what his intent is for this round. So he's still vulnerable, but he also gained 20 block right now, so playing this anger is not really that useful, except for the fact that anger creates a copy of itself. So right now we have 2 angers in our draw pile, so that's the only reason why I'm going to play it, even though it didn't do any damage. Right here, great opportunity to use the Battle Trance that we upgraded. We just get a lot more options here to play around with. And this is the Sharp Hide is the new buff that he gains in defensive mode, and that is whenever he gets whenever you play an attack, take 3 damage. That is really annoying to deal with in general. So yeah, it's tricky to play around sometimes because you do want to deal damage, but you don't want to take that much damage all the time. So what I'm going to play is just a disarm. I'm going to play an Enflame to buff myself up, to make my future much easier. And I'm going to play a True Grit. No, I'm just going to play a defend. I don't want to get rid of any of these cards yet, so I just want to defend with the block. Using True Grit here would be too much block because we get 7 from it. So a defend will just do. And I don't want to exhaust one of these cards. Okay, so this is quite unfortunate because we only have attack cards in our hand. So yeah, anytime we attack him, he will deal 3 damage to us with his sharp hide. It's not great, but I think I'm just going to bash here. If I'm really in any trouble, we can always use the potions that we have. But yeah, that's like last resort type of options. He will deal 8 damage to us here, so 4 times 2. And 4 times 2, that's actually the reason why the disarms were so great. Disarm will reduce the damage also of multi-attack. So it doesn't change the first number, which is the amount of damage, but but how many times this damage is applied is not changed. But yeah, also he does another multi-attack later, which will showcase the importance of disarm once more. So I'm going to take 8 damage here, and I put my battle trance up top because I want to be able to draw more cards because there's more angers in our deck, which will make us deal more damage. So right now he is doing another multi-attack, and this time he is only doing 1 times 4. This would have been, if this 4 strength wouldn't have been applied, this would have been 5 times 4. 20 damage. That's such an amount, we couldn't even block that. But because we applied the disarms, it's making our life so much easier here. So the next mode shift is happening at 37. So 37 is the next threshold that we want to get to. I'm not entirely certain whether we will be able to get him down this round, but we also don't really have to. We can just block with our defend and then play angers and strikes as we see fit. I wouldn't play combust here because combust is more of a card that you play in a fight against multiple enemies. And it loses 1 HP every single round. Oh, we were actually able to get him down. So we wouldn't have needed to play the defend after all. Let's see, how am I going to play this? I'm going to play it like this. I'm going to play defend. Then I'm going to play a headbutt to get my battle trance up top again. And then I'm going to play a True Grit to get rid of one of the cards. It was a defend. I would have rather liked to get rid of my strike. Because strikes and angers deal the same amount of damage, but this costs 1 energy and this doesn't. So angers are just a better strike at this point in time. He's still in the defense mode, so I just want to... Well, this is just perfect. I just want to play defense and strike him and play a defending and play a what was this card again? A True Grit. Now we block all of the damage, but we have dealt a lot of damage as well. He's not vulnerable anymore now, so we will need to deal with the next 47 damage until the mode shift, but he will be dead by then. Okay, there is a defend in my draw pile, a anger, and a headbutt. I do have a pommel strike, so if I get the defend, that would be amazing. I obviously didn't. With the defend, we could have just blocked this 4 damage that is incoming. Is it a big deal? No, not really, because in the next turn, the fight is going to be over anyway. But that's just something that you have to be conscious about when playing Slay the Spire. If you have a draw card, look at the cards in your draw pile to see what can I actually get. Okay, first boss down. Let's go. We got some gold, we got a potion, and we get a card reward. This card reward is always a rare card, and I know exactly which one I'm going for. which is the Demon Form. Demon Form and Corruption are both great cards. Corruption is also something that you should always consider, but Demon Form is amazing in this case, in this spot. It gives you 2 strength at the end of each turn, and if you compare that to Inflame, which just gives you 3 strength right then and there, that is just an amazing card. So right now, just because we added this Demon Form, our damage is off the charts. So I just want to focus on defense right now. So any sort of thing that can help us is welcome. After you defeat a boss at the end of the act, you get a boss chest, which gives you the option of 3 relics. The first relic here is Snecko Eye. At the start of your turn, draw 2 additional cards, start each combat confused. Confused is a status effect that randomizes the cards in that you draw each turn. So this card that usually costs 3 could possibly cost 0, it could cost 2. It just depends on your luck, basically. But on the flip side, the battle trance that we just upgraded, we upgraded with the thought in mind that that you can always play it because it costs 0. Well, if the cost is randomized and it suddenly costs 2 or 1 or even 2 of 3, well, then we can't always play it. So that is something that you have to keep in mind as well when considering Snecko Eye. Black Blood replaces Burning Blood, so our starter relic, and it heals for 12 at the end of combat. So it doubles the effectiveness of our Burning Blood that we have right now. Tiny House, this is like a few effects. Upon pickup, obtain 1 potion. Well, we have all of our potions here, so we don't need that. Gain 50 gold, that's pretty decent. Raise your max HP by 5, that's also pretty good. And obtain 1 card and upgrade a random card. It's just a lot of small things, generally not that great, to be honest, but you can take it in a pickle. Right here, and I almost never do that, usually the general rule of Slay the Spire is, if you see a Snecko Eye, you pick a Snecko Eye. And I'm really tempted to do it because we have the Demon Form. Because if I can get this in play early, because its cost is reduced by Snecko Eye, then fights are just going to be incredibly easy. We can also upgrade this card to get us 3 strength each turn. So really good upgrade. The other reason why I would take it is because we have Bash and it's a 2 cost card, so we could reduce that to 1 or even 0. So yeah, Snecko Eye is a great option here. I think if I take Snecko Eye, I would remove Anger at some point because it will just clog up our deck, or maybe just Strikes and keep the Anger. I'm not entirely certain, but I'm going to take Snecko Eye. Drawing more cards in general is a pretty good thing, and that is one of the effects that Snecko Eye does. So yeah, let's just roll with that. Okay, new act. This is Act 2. We are on floor 17. So each time we move up one of these spaces, we go a floor higher. And I am just looking at this act right now to see what is the best way to go about it. I have a lot of money, so I would like to hit a store at some point. And there are a few stores available, but I also want to maximize the amount of elite fights that we take, because our deck is pretty strong right now with Snecko Eye and Demon Form. So I want to be able to keep that momentum going of being strong and staying strong by going to the store. Money is just another resource that you can use to get stronger. That's how I see it. So I think I found the way that I'm going to go down. I'm not going to go to this store, but I'd rather go to this store. And the reason being is I want to take this route here, right there, take 2 campfires, so 2 potential upgrades that we can do. Take the store in between, and then take these 2 elite fights near the end of the act. I think almost all of the elites in 2 out of 3 of the elites have some kind of multi-fight mechanic in them, which is great for our Mercury Hourglass and our Combust. So that's why I want to take elites, and I'm also going to prepare for that with the stores that I'm going to visit. So yeah, let's get right into it. Also, already some 0-cost cards, which is great. Disarm. So these are looters. They will steal our gold each turn they attack. So they will steal 15 gold. It doesn't matter if we block their attack, they will still steal the gold. Like, they're really greedy fuckers. So what we want to do is we just want to kill them, because as soon as we kill them, we get our gold back. I am going to disarm one of them, and I think I'm going to focus on the other. We still have the anchor available, so we still have 10 block that we get at the start of each turn. So now we have fully blocked everything, basically. I'm going to strike, headbutt, and get the strike back. The next time we draw it, the cost is randomized again. So even though it was 3 cost right now, next turn it could be 0. Who knows? Let's see. It's a 1 cost strike again. Okay, we have our Combust, and now I am thinking, let's see. Okay, we can do some damage with this, Unfortunately, our Combust only deals 5 damage, so we still have to do damage to this enemy to kill it. And yeah, with because it's only at 1, with our Combust, it gets killed, and we save ourselves some damage there. Our demon form, we would have ideally liked to draw it a little bit earlier, but hey, we didn't, so we got to deal with it. I'm just gonna kill this as soon as possible, because these muggers, they have the annoying ability that they tend to run away from fights. So I just want to be able to kill them as soon as possible. That's pretty much the whole goal of this fight. Let's see what we have in our draw pile. We have 2 draw cards, so let's consider that first. So we have a lot of damage cards in our draw pile, so I think I'm just going to Battle Trance and see what we get. We can play 2 cards. We can play 2 attack cards, and our Combust will also do some damage here. This turn, we can just headbutt and kill it. Perfect. The fact that we lose some HP from Combust is not even that bad, considering that we have Burning Blood, which heals us up at the end of each combat. So we can just deal with that. We get the gold back that the mugger stole, and we get some extra gold for killing them. And yes, this is interesting. So there's 2 good cards here. It's Armaments and Metallicize. Armaments, when I play it, it's just like a defend. It gives me 5 block, but then I can also upgrade a card for the rest of the combat. So it's not a permanent upgrade like when we upgrade cards at a campfire, but rather a temporary one. But the upgraded version lets me upgrade all cards in my hand for the rest of combat. This is interesting because of 2 things. One, because Snecko Eye gives me 2 additional cards each turn, but also Battle Trance. If we play it and we get armaments, then we get extra upgrades that way. The other one would be Metallicize. Metallicize lets me block for 3 at the end of each turn, which can be upgraded to 4. I think we are kind of lacking in the defense department. Like all of the cards that we've added to our deck, 1, 2, 3. Well, maybe disarm is the only defensive card, but since adding this True Grit disarm, we didn't really add that many defensive cards. So I think I'm going to do Metellus, even though that's also a defensive card. Let's go armaments and then try to upgrade it at the next campfire. I think that's the play. Okay, next fight. Okay, we are already fully blocked because of Anchor. So I'm just going to play Demon Form and absolutely steamroll this fight. Easy peasy. Not going to play... I could play Combust here. It will only make us lose HP. I kind of want to heal to full, so if I can avoid taking any unnecessary damage, I will. And let's see. I will play the armaments, upgrade my strike, play the Inflame to get myself some more strength gain, and play the strike. And now I can play the Disarm to make him lose some... to make the Chosen lose some strength. The Chosen has put a effect on me, which says Hex. Whenever you play a non-attack card, shuffle 1 days into your draw pile. So if I play a skill or a power, whenever you play a non-attack card, whenever I play a skill or a power, I put a daze into my deck, into my draw pile. This can really clog up your draw pile, and if you only draw dazes, well then you're pretty screwed, so you want to avoid that as much as possible. I'm just gonna play attack cards. We have 7 strength, we're so strong right now. We're absolutely gonna clobber this guy. We have a 0 cost battle trance, so I'm definitely gonna use that because the rest of my cards are pretty expensive right now. So yeah, I'm not sure. I think I'm just going to defend in this round. We have a 0 cost defend here. Oh, maybe I can do something like this. Upgrade Pommel Strike and hope for more. Oh no, we can't draw more cards. I forgot that. Well, regardless, we only take 2 damage here, and we heal for 6 at the end of combat anyway. And 6 is exactly the amount of health that we're missing, so we heal to full after this fight. So that is perfect. Right here is actually the first time that I'm going to skip the card selection. Skipping is a really, really powerful option that is often underestimated in Slay the Spire. And that is, do these cards help my deck in any way, shape or form to deal with upcoming fights? And the answer is, for me, is no. Pommel Strike, decent but not great. I mean, we already have Battle Trance to do the same job, sort of, to draw cards. Body Slam, well, are deal damage equal to the block that you have. We don't generate a lot of blocks, so there's no point in taking this. And Seeing Red gives me some temporary energy, but, well, we have Snecko Eye, so we don't know if this actually generates energy. If it costs 1, if it costs 0, gain 2 energy, perfect. I mean, I'll take it any day of the week. But if it costs 3 to gain 2 energy, I mean, what's the point? So I'm just going to skip here and skip the card selection. Yep, I know that I didn't pick them up, and that was on purpose. And I'm just going to go to the next floor, and I can never choose that again, that option. Okay, this is an event, the Vampires event. I can either accept to remove all strikes and replace them with bites, with 5 bites, I might add. We have already removed 1 strike, and I would like to remove some more in the future. I don't think I want this, for 2 reasons. Bites are pretty decent, because they deal 7 damage and heal you for 2 HP, and they only cost 1. So they're like strikes, but then a little bit better with some HP gains. There's 2 downsides. 1, we already removed 1 strike, so we will get 4 semi-strikes in return for it, or 5 semi-strikes in return for it, because 5 bites. But also on top of that, we lose 24 max HP. That is so much. Right now, we're sort of tanking hits left, right, and center with, because we have burning blood, but reducing our max HP actually makes us much more killable. So I'm not going to take this. I'm going to refuse and just move on to the next event. We said we're not going to take this store, but rather this store. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go take the fight. In this particular fight, it's usually best to kill the Centurion before the Mystic. The general idea of this fight is this Centurion buffs this Mystic, so he gives the Mystic a shield, and the Mystic buffs both of them with strength gains and heals. So it's sort of like an RPG, like front line, back line sort of stuff. And the idea is to constantly keep damaging the Centurion, so the Mystic feels the need to heal the both of them. But this then sort of soft locks them in this. This guy heals him, this guy shields him, and I can slowly whittle down the Centurion. That's sort of the idea behind this fight. So yeah, I'm just gonna pummel strike and strike again. We still have the vulnerability because of the background marbles, and now he will either buff. Yeah, see, it buffed, or it can heal. So we don't know if it's a buff or a heal in this case. So now the Centurion will attack. First of all, free disarm. I'll never say no to that. A free battle trance. Let's play that. Oh my goodness, so many free cards. Let's go. A 1-cost demon form. That's pretty dang good. And I think I will just play that. So my options here are play bash and take 10 damage. Not that great. Play demon form, become stronger over time, and then defend. And maybe play combust, but I'm not sure about that. And that's pretty much all of our options. Like using headbutt there is just worse than bash, so that would not be an option in the first place. I don't think I wouldn't play combust here, even though this is a fight against multiple enemies. We have our strength gain in place with our demon form, so yeah, we don't need more damage at this point. Okay. So this is exactly what I mean with Battle Trance not really interacting that well with Snecko Eye. We can't use this card now, which is sort of sad. But the good news is we can play Defend, Armaments to upgrade the Pommel Strike. And we can play Anger and Pommel Strike. And another strike. Why not? 0-cost strike. Perfect. We blocked completely and we did a lot of damage. So here the Mystic healed the Centurion. Did it heal or did it buff? I don't even know. I'm not sure. But anyway, we can just kill off the Centurion here with a bash and a strike. And now it's just a Mystic that is left. So sometimes she will attack, sometimes she doesn't. Depends really. I think I may have killed here. Yeah, exactly. We're so 9 strength is so ridiculous. Okay, here's something that is very useful to know. We can't get this potion because we already have 3. We only have 3 slots. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at these potions and see which one is the worst. For me, that's definitely the elixir. The elixir lets you discard a number of cards in your hand. The regen potion gives you the regen ability, which gives you a certain amount of health at the end of your turn. Really powerful because it just gives you constant healing. So if you're in a pinch and you have a really long drawn out fight and your health is getting low, regen potion and your struggles are much easier to deal with. This is another skip, I think. I don't like any of these cards. I mean, we already have an armaments to upgrade our cards, so yeah, maybe a Warcry. maybe. I don't really like it here. Just gonna move on to the question mark. Obtain a relic, 50%, become Writhe. Become cursed. Curses, we haven't seen any curses so far. So curses are cards that you add to your deck that are generally bad. In this case, Writhe is an unplayable innate card. Innate cards you will start with in your opening hand, and you just can't do anything with it. So it's basically a card that you just can't use. Instead of starting with 7 cards because of Snecko Eye in your hand, you start with 6. So very, very bad to get the right. Because of that, even though I have a 50% chance of obtaining a relic, I'm just gonna leave. It's just not worth the adding a right to my deck. Because when you add a right to your deck, you want to remove it, right? I mean, that's the whole point of going to shops, because shops allow you to remove certain cards, or at question marks you can also sometimes remove cards. But you also want to remove these strikes, because, like as I mentioned before, they become progressively worse as the game goes on. So putting curses in your deck just slows down how fast your deck can actually build up speed. It just slows down your deck. So I'm going to upgrade armaments here, like I mentioned before, just to be able to upgrade cards in my hand. I won't always be able to play this, but it will help me for the rest of that combat. So I think it's just a good card to upgrade first. At this campfire, I'm probably going to upgrade Demon Form, because that's the next best upgrade. And yeah, we have a lot of money to spend here, so I am gonna go nuts. Okay, there's a few good options. Okay, whenever you go to a store, you always have these options right here, which are just random cards. I think attack and skill cards that you can pick from your class. And right here is always a power card. A power, doesn't like from your class. Then down here you have colorless cards. Colorless cards are just cards, that can be used on any sort of character. It doesn't matter if you play Ironclad or what are the other ones? I completely forgot now what the other characters are, but in general you can take them on all of the characters. Down here you have the option to take 3 relics. Usually they're between, I would say, 150 and 300 gold. So just be mindful of that. And there's also certain relics that can only show up in shops. I think Frozen Eye is one of them. And down here you have potions that you can buy. They're the same potions that you can also encounter during as a combat reward. But these, here you can really specifically buy one that you think, okay, this potion will really help me to win specific fights, or fights that I'm maybe not equipped to deal with. And this is, I think, one of the most important things about a shop, and that's the card reward, the card removal service. It costs 75 gold, and it can remove any one of your cards. So it can be strike, defend, doesn't matter, anything. But before you do that, you should consider what you want to buy with your money. We have about 500, so we can buy quite a few things, and there are quite a few good things in this shop. One of them is Hand of Greed. Feel No Pain. Sever of Soul, even. Not really a big fan of that one, but we could buy it. Question card is really good. Frozen Eye is really good, but I don't... Well, it is really good. I just don't like it because I'm a lazy motherfucker. So it puts your draw pile in order in such an order that you're actually going to draw that the cards in that order. So you can really plan your moves ahead and your turns ahead, and well, I just don't like it. Because it takes a lot of planning and stuff, and I just like to go off intuition when I play this game. Hand of Greed is great because every time we deal fatal damage to an enemy, we gain 20 gold. So yeah, whenever we kill an enemy that is not a minion, very important. That's what the word fatal is for. We get gold. The good news is it costs 2 usually, but because we have Snecko Eye, this can be random, so we can have a 20 damage card that costs 0, which is great. So I'm really considering buying this. Feel No Pain is also another great option. We have talked about the exhaust mechanic before and how powerful it is to actually exhaust cards. We have 3 cards right now that do exhaust, and we can add more to it if we think that Feel No Pain is the way to go here. And I think it is, to be honest. I think we should add some defensive cards into our deck, and Feel No Pain is a great defensive option. I'm going to take Feel No Pain, Hand of Greed, and I would like to buy Question Card because it gives us an extra option in card rewards that we have in the future, but we don't have enough money for that. So I'm going to take a card reward, a card removal, remove a strike, and maybe take a Second Wind. Second Wind lets me exhaust all non-attack cards and gain 5 block for each card exhausted. Works really well with Feel No Pain, obviously, because you not only get block for the card Second Wind itself, but also for the block that you get from Feel No Pain. But now I have to make the choice between Frozen Eye, Orichalcum, or Second Wind. Like I said, Frozen Eye, not really my thing. Still really good, which is not really my thing. Orichalcum lets you gain block. Lets you block 6 at the end of the turn if you have no block. Also really powerful. Really powerful. I think that's actually really good because we don't always want to block. We just want to go nuts with the strength gain that we have, and this can save us a lot of health in the long run, I think, because our deck is so offensively built right now. So yeah, just moving on, upgrading Demon Form. Like I said, we just want to be able to get stronger quicker. So upgrading Demon Form does that for us, and I think we're very well equipped to take on elite fights right now. So I'm going to take this route right here. We get another. Oh, that is really nice, but also really unfortunate. We get a Molten Egg from the treasure, which says whenever you add an attack card to your deck, upgrade it. And we literally just bought a Hand of Greed, which is now not upgraded. But hey, what can you do? Let's have a look. Okay, one of the few fights, one of the single target fights, unfortunately, that is present in this act. But luckily, our disarm is going to help us out a ton in this fight. Armaments, like I said, this is exactly why we bought it. None of our cards are upgraded except armaments, and now all of our cards are upgraded. This is just perfection. I'm going to play Feel No Pain first, then play the Disarm, because I want this card to exhaust, and when it exhausts, my Feel No Pain gives me some block. So that is perfect. I'm going to Headbutt to put the to put the armaments back on top, and I'm going to Pommel Strike, and I can actually play the armaments again to upgrade my Hand of Greed and play my Hand of Greed. I mean, very strong stuff. This is why Disarm is so good in this fight. Usually it does a lot of multi-attacks, this enemy. And like I said, multi-attacks is exactly what you block with Disarm. So right now he does 3 times 2 damage, so 6. And now it's just 2 damage. So yeah, just incredibly powerful against this type of enemy. I don't even have to block anything because our Feel No Pain just gave us 4 block, so we're completely fine. So I'm just gonna Strength Gain and play an Anger, just because I can. Yeah, this enemy is not going to do anything the rest of the fight. That's pretty much what Disarm does to this enemy specifically. Gonna play a free demon form because why not, right? Gonna play a Bash, Strike, and a True Grit. True Grit again, giving us block itself, but also exhaust the card, so Feel No Pain. So right now we're starting to feel the synergy between different cards in our deck. And this is exactly why we bought Hand of Greed. Hand of Greed says, whenever it deals fatal damage, gain 25 gold. And well, would you look at that? We did fatal damage, so we got some gold. Okay, Warpaint. Warpaint is a special relic. Why is that? Upon pickup, upgrade 2 random skills. You think, okay, let's click on it. But what if we want to add a card to our deck that is a skill? Then we also have a chance to upgrade this card then, which is also good. So that's something you want to think about when adding this relic specifically to your deck. There's also one with attack cards that works the same way. So you always want to look at the card drawer first before adding Warpaint to your deck. And in this case, I'm going to take Barricade because it works really well with Snecko Eye. It's a 3-cost card. Usually, the higher the cost, the better the action is that the card does. So adding a 3-cost card to your deck when you have Snecko Eye is just brilliant. It says block is not removed at the start of your turn. So any sort of block that we generate with Feel No Pain, Armaments, stuff like that, anytime we exhaust a card when we have Feel No Pain in play, it's just going to stay. So yeah, great card. It's not a skill, so it didn't matter in the end that we waited with Warpaint, but it's always good practice. We take the Warpaint, that's great. Upgrading Disarm is brilliant. We now have one upgraded and one unupgraded, so yeah, really, really good. This is a great event for us because it is sort of a boss fight, but with really weak enemies. So we have 2 options here: pay and lose all of our gold. Well, we only have 78, but yeah, why not fight? Our deck is super strong. We have 3 enemies, which our Mercury Hourglass will be able to take care of really easily. And I have Snecko Eye, so yeah, I'm just gonna. I'm feeling the fight. Let's see. I think I'm just gonna do a Strike here, and then play a Combust. So the Combust will do 5 damage to all enemies, so that's a lot of damage in multi enemy fights, and it will actually kill off Pointy now already. Bear is gonna debuff us, and it's gonna give us a Dexterity debuff. Decreases block gain from cards by 2. So our True Grit usually does 7 block, and now it only gets us 5 block. So it's a very straightforward mechanic, but yeah, it's something that you have to think about. Yeah, right now we're in a pickle, I would say, because what I would like to do is strike and then Hand of Greed someone to kill it, but yeah, we don't do enough damage. So I'm thinking of Demon Form, Strike, Defend. I would still like to minimize the amount of damage that I take. Defend is just... we could have done... I forgot my my combust. So we could have actually killed one of them, and I think that would have been better in the end. I'm gonna play my inflame, my my thingy, my anger, and right now we already killed this enemy because of our combust. So right now I'm not forgetting, and so we only have to defend against bear now, and we're gonna do that by playing 2 defense and then a disarm. I mean, it's not ideal. We still take a ton of damage, but still, it's better than nothing. And right here, we can get some Hand of Greed money again. So yeah, that is great. This reward always gives you the red mask, and this is actually the red mask that they were all wearing. And this will apply 1 week to all enemies at the start of the combat. So right now, we apply 1 vulnerable at the start of the combat and 1 week. So enemies are going to be, yeah, they're not going to have a good time when they're fighting us. I'm thinking about getting ghostly armor because it's a pretty decent defensive card, and ethereal means that if you don't play this card, then it exhausts, and when things exhaust, and they feel no pain in play, we actually gain block that way as well. I don't think it's worth it. I'm just, it's just something to consider. We're not really getting low on health, so I think 1 regen potion is definitely enough for us, so I'm gonna take the swift potion instead, which lets us draw 3 cards when we want to in a combat. Let's go to the next event. Okay, this is an interesting one. This is a event where we can potentially get 2 relics in 1 fight. And this is a very, very good start to it. Oh my goodness. This is a very interesting start to it. Okay. So we have to fight 2. Okay. If we kill these enemies, we get nothing. But when we kill these enemies, we have the option to either escape the Colosseum or fight against more powerful enemies. And when you kill the more powerful enemies, that's when you get 2 relics as a reward. So that's something that is really interesting. Right now, we're gonna murder these guys because our demon form costs 0. So that's just a free demon form that we can play right there. We can play Bash into Hand of Greed for an instant gold reward, and we kill one of them. And then we can, on top of that, we can play Inflame and Disarm on the guy that is still alive. So yeah, this guy is not going to have a good time. Yeah, so more free cards for some reason, because yeah, why would anything cost any money or any energy? And yeah, just gonna full block because this guy is getting screwed. And just play a attack card. Okay, so like I said, we have the option to either escape or fight a more powerful enemy. And yeah, we're definitely gonna fight the more powerful enemy here. This time our start is not as good as the previous one, but still pretty decent, I would say. I think I do want to drink my regen potion here because I sort of want to make room for more potions. It doesn't feel good to discard potions because then they don't do anything for you. So I would rather use it here so that we have the option to get a potion after this fight or maybe after another fight. So first things first, let's just play the defend to get some space in our hand for the cards that we're going to draw. I always want to kill Gremlin Knob first. Gremlin Knob is just so annoying. We fought him earlier and he prevents us from playing skills, or doesn't prevent us, but he gains strength every time we play a skill. And then I want to play my Battle Trance because it's just an easy way to draw more cards. And well, we got a demon form, which is great. I'm also going to play my barricade here because we can retain a lot of block after this. After the first round. So this guy is going to hit us for 5, but that means we take 13 block into our next combat round. So yeah, that is just really powerful. Okay, let's have a look. We have a Hand of Greed coming up. That is great. We have a Combust for free. That's also good. And we have a Battle Trance that is for free. He does gain strength from it, but I think it's acceptable right here. Not entirely certain though, to be honest. Okay, now our cards cost a lot more. So I want to think on how I want to approach this battle. I know that I have Combust coming up, so he actually only has 45 HP. So that is something I will need to keep in mind when dealing damage. So I can play Hand of Greed, Anger for a good amount of damage, but it's just a little bit short. Or do I just play the Bash? Yeah, I think I'm just gonna play Bash, Disarm. So he gains strength because of playing a skill, but he loses strength because of the skill. So it's still a net positive for me. And I'm just gonna play a True Grit because it gives me more block than I actually lose. I lost the Hand of Greed, unfortunately. I mean, yeah, what am I gonna do? It is what it is. But yeah, right now we definitely want to kill this guy. And yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the 2 strikes here to kill him, and then use the Bash to apply vulnerable to this guy. I'm going to play the Feel No Pain and then a True Grit to get a lot of block. And what I'm going to do here is actually, I'm not going to kill this this slaver just yet. I want to utilize the last healing, the last regen that I get from my regen potion that I played. So I'm just gonna play a lot of defensive cards, and I think this is the best one that I can play because I get block from the Feel No Pain that I have, and also from the he also loses some strength, so that will give me future block, if that makes sense. So there's one more tick of health that we can get from our regen, but we're already at 74 HP, and we heal 6 at the end of the combat, so I'm just gonna kill him here. So, and now we're full HP. Okay, two really good relics, amazing relics really. We have Charon's Ashes. Whenever you exhaust a card, deal 3 damage to all enemies. Well, we just saw that we have a lot of exhaust cards because these cards exhaust, and the True Grit exhausts as well, and this one stays in our deck. So yeah, great card, great relic. Self-forming clay. Whenever you lose HP, gain 3 block next turn. That synergizes well with our barricade. So if we get any sort of damage, we can get block next turn and then actually keep it because of our barricade. So yeah, great relics. Let's look at the card reward. Not so great. We could maybe take the Body Slam here. No, we can't take the Body Slam. So Body Slam, the upgrade of it, the upgraded version, it reduces the cost from 1 cost to 0 cost. But because we have Snecko Eye, the cost is randomized anyway, so we don't really know what the cost is going to be. We already have an Armaments, don't want that, and Intimidate is just not that good. It applies 1 week to all enemies, and if you upgrade it, it applies 2. But yeah, most enemies have artifact charges or something like that, so yeah, we don't really need that. Okay, let's see how we're gonna fight the slavers for the second time. I'm gonna create some space in my hand. Yeah, I'm gonna play the block card because I want to draw more cards. That's the idea behind it. I can use my potions, like I'm gonna get more potions later on, so I really want to use them. Our Hand of Greed does 30 damage, so we have to keep that in mind as well. And I want to kill the Backslaver first. The Backslaver has, after a while, it puts a debuff on you that lets you not, that prevents you from attacking one turn. So killing this guy first enables you to constantly deal damage. That's the idea. This guy puts weakness on you to reduce the damage that you do, and this one I think in strength, or that maybe at higher ascensions. So I'm gonna disarm this guy. Oh yeah, Karen's Ashes kicks in because we exhausted a card. I'm gonna draw some more. That's all hot garbage. And yeah, just gonna bash this guy and then kill him with Hand of Greed. And get some gold in the process. 20 gold, not bad. We have a barricade in place, so any sort of defend that we play is gonna stay. So the block of it is gonna stay. And yeah, just gonna play out the fight as usual. Upgrade all of my cards. Play the Anger, play the Feel No Pain, play the Combust, and True Grit my Strike. Karen's Ashes kicks in, but also Feel No Pain kicks in. And oh, that is even better. I didn't even think about that. So Combust actually helps us to proc Self-Forming Claim, even though we have block, because we lose one turn, one HP to deal 7 damage to all enemies, and every time we lose HP, we gain 3 block. So yeah, that's just an insane combo right there. I'm gonna play a Inflame, an Anger, and a Headbutt to put the Anger back on top. And I'm just gonna chill with my 12 block and hope that we get a Hand of Greed to get even more gold. Let's go. Okay, White Beast Statue. It's really good that we use some potions, because White Beast Statue makes potions always appear after combat. So yeah, we have to be really careless with our potions right now. I'm going to take Blood for Blood because it's a high damage. Well, am I? I mean, it's just a good card. I want multi-attacks right now. Do I need more attacks? Is that what this deck needs? Or do I just want to upgrade my attacks? I think I just want to upgrade my attacks. So yeah, I'm gonna skip again. Okay, next event. Let's go. Remove a card from our deck for 75 gold. I mean, gold we have enough because of Hand of Greed, but I'm happy to remove strikes right now. Strikes are just generally really crappy as of this moment, because yeah, we never know how much they're worth and they don't do enough damage. We would rather play some things like Hand of Greed or something like that to deal more damage that way. And that's also why I'm going to upgrade it, because it deals more damage, but it also increases the gold gains that we can potentially get from it. This is the champ, the Act 2 boss fight. It can be a really difficult fight, because when you get him under half HP, he buffs himself to a ridiculous amount of strength, and actually deals a lot of damage at that point. So you want to really have scaled before that point, or just kill him really quickly. And yeah, playing Barricade early is definitely a good way to start off this fight. And then Bash Strike to deal a little bit of damage and apply Vulnerable. Yeah, let's just buff all of our cards, especially all of our defensive cards, which is really, really good. And yeah, just play a bunch of cards that will help us to gain block and also to deal damage. Demon form is exactly what we needed. I'm gonna play Inflame as well, and then just play pretty much everything. I just want to block his attack here, and then prepare for his next attack by playing defensive cards. That's pretty much my idea. The reason being, I'm gonna gain a ridiculous amount of strength just by existing because of demon form. So yeah, any sort of defense that we can get going right now is just amazing. I can disarm him to not only reduce his strength by 3, but also to increase my block with Feel No Pain. So yeah, little combinations like that are just amazing right now. We want to be careful not to go under, 210 HP, because that's when he will start buffing himself and become ridiculously strong. I am gonna go slowly towards that, because we already have 9 strength, so that's quite a lot of strength to, and we should be able to handle the fight at that point. I think True Grit is one of our best defensive cards right now, just because all of the synergies that we have going on. I'm gonna play Armaments. Disarm or defend? I think disarm. Yeah, I think disarm here. That's good. Here's something I haven't shown yet, which is Frail. It's one of the debuffs that this guy is applying to us. It's a debuff that reduces the block gain from cards for 25%, by 25%, and that is for X amount of turns. In this case, 2. Yeah, something to keep in mind. So it's just like the dexterity loss, so dexterity reduction. It just reduces the amount of block that you can get. Still want to just chill, not do too much here. And we are approaching this 210 threshold, so I'm going to attack right now because I have a lot of really good cheap attack cards, and look at the damage that they do. That is insane. Okay, yeah. Maybe we'll... I will probably not kill him this turn, right? Oh my goodness, and finish it off with a Hand of Greed as well. Look at that. Easy peasy, demon form doing work. So we're getting potions after every fight, so yeah, don't be scared to use them. So Juggernaut is a great card in combination with, for instance, the Feel No Pain, because it deals damage every time you gain block. That is great, but our deck revolves around strength gains, so we don't actually need the extra damage from this. What I instead would like to have is some good block card, because that is actually what we're lacking right now. Impervious works really well with Barricade, so I'm going to take Impervious here. We don't need another demon form. We don't need to scale faster. We just need to scale. That's all we want to do. And Impervious just lets us get there. Okay, I think this is a pretty easy choice. So 3 options again. We have the Runic Cube. Whenever you lose HP, draw a card. Works well with the the Combust, because we lose HP quite a bit when we have Combust in play. We have the Coffee Dripper. You gain an extra energy, but you can no longer rest at rest sites. Really good, especially because we have built-in healing already with the Burning Blood, so we don't need to rest at rest site most of the time, but can be really, really tricky. So this one is good because you get an extra energy, but it can get really tricky because you don't have the option to rest. Gain 1 energy at the start of your turn. At the start of combat, shuffle 2 wounds into your draw pile. So wounds are status effects. They're sort of like curses, but you can get rid of them much easier during a combat phase. So also just something to be mindful of. It's quite tricky to see to understand how good or bad this is, but it's generally pretty bad because I mean 2 curses in your deck is just tricky. I'm going to take the Coffee Dripper here because we have the Burning Blood and our defensive capabilities just went up quite a bit because of the Impervious. We already have Barricade and Feel No Pain. There's also a synergy between Feel No Pain and Impervious because this card exhausts. So yeah, it's just there's just a lot of synergies going on around blocking and preventing damage from actually happening, so that we don't have to heal at rest site. We've not rested at rest sites so far, so why start now? So again, I'm just looking at this act, and one of the things that I'm noticing is that we have this campfire, treasure room campfire situation going on. So there's a lot of rooms where we can actually get some upgrades. We can't rest anymore, but we can still upgrade. So that's pretty good still. To get there though, we would have to get through a lot of hallway fights. So a lot of fights to actually be able to get there. And in Act 3, the monsters are pretty strong. So yeah, you don't always want this. What we could do instead is take this route right here, which has a lot more question marks, and then either go to the fight and go to this campfire afterwards, and then go to this elite or not. So we have a lot of more options going this way here. So yeah, let's start off over here. This enemy has a strength up ability that says every time at the end of his turn gains 3 strength. So basically just like the demon form that we have. And this inflicts negative effects on you. Okay, I've never read that, but it's basically just it's going to add burns to our decks. Burns are also status effects that just act like the wounds that we just discussed. And yeah, they're just pretty bad in general, but nothing we can't handle. So we already full block, so blocking is not really the main objective here, but we don't have any offensive cards in hand except for the strike that costs 3. So I'm just gonna buff my cards. We do have 4 energy now, something to keep in mind. So yeah, any sort of so anytime so because of the Coffee Dripper, we now have more energy to spare in these fights. I'm gonna play the Impervious right here, or do I just play Bash? So I'm gonna play the Impervious because of Karen's Ashes and because I get a lot of block from this, and then just Strike, Anger, Defend. I would like to Hand of Greed this guy if possible. If it's not possible, it is what it is. I'm not gonna be hung up about it. I'm just gonna defend again, same as the previous fights. Just defend until we can actually kill him. So here we could get some Hand of Greed pretty soon. So I just want to prepare my enemy for the possibility that I can kill him with Hand of Greed. I do not want to play the Pommel Strike here, because my deck contains the Hand of Greed now, and what if I draw it and it costs 1 or 2 or 3? I can't play it. So I'm just gonna do nothing here. Leave the 2 energy and just wait for the Hand of Greed. Just wait. Ah. So that's the burns, by the way. I didn't specifically mention this, but burns are unplayable status effects. At the end of your turn, you take 2 damage, and the 2 damage basically gets deducted from our block. And yeah, Han agreed to finish it off. So we didn't use any of our potions, which we definitely should do, because White Beast Statue makes us get potions after every single fight. And this card here is exactly... Well, it's one of the cards that we really wanted. There's a sword boomerang, and it says deal 3 damage to a random enemy 4 times. That means that if we have strength gains, let's say we have 5 strength, we do 8 damage to a random enemy 4 times. So you multiply the amount of damage you can do per strength. And this card is absolutely amazing for that. It's already upgraded as well, which is great. Just a great card in general. We have 400. We have 400 money, 400 coiny boys, and yeah, we just want to get to a store to see what's in here. And right away, I see this card. This card is amazing and solves all of our healing problems right away. Deal 5 damage to all enemies. Heal HP equal to the unblocked damage. So this is a heal card that can scale up with strength because it's an attack. And well, we do have sort of a little bit of strength gain because of our demon form. So just an absolutely amazing option. Right now we have two options left in the store that I would consider, and that is the Ironclad and a card removal. A card removal because we want to get rid of the strikes, which is what I've been advocating from the start. And the Ironclad is actually a sort of anchor that only acts on turn 2. So at the start of your second turn, gain 14 block. And Anchor says at the start of your combat, start with 10 block. So that way, I think I'm going to take this just for the fact that it will help us to get our demon form in play. It will help us to get our barricade in play. So it's just a lot of good things for the deck itself. Even better, I think, than the card removal. But the card removal is pretty good. So it might have been pretty close there. Okay, how we fight next? Let's see what we have. We encountered the Darklings. The Darklings have the fun interaction of having lifelink. So if I kill the first one and the other two are still alive, this one comes back to life after 2 turns. Even if there's just one guy still alive, they will both come back to life after 2 turns. And so you have to kill them off sort of at the same time. It's not very difficult for us to do because we have a lot of AoE options like Combust, we have Karen's Ashes, we have Mercury Hourglass, and we have a lot of strength gain. So yeah, it should be pretty easy to win this fight. Okay, our first time using Sword Boomerang. We don't have any strength yet, but it's still 4 times a random enemy, eh? 4 times the same one. I mean, yeah, sure. Why not? Why not? Let's put that sucker back on top and defend because this guy is doing a little bit of damage here. Okay, Ironclad going off. We have 17 block at the start of the turn. Sword Boomerang. The cost of sword Boomerang went up a little bit here, but that's all right. Let's see. They do 19 damage, so I take a little bit of damage. Not too bad. Doesn't really matter. We still have Burning Blood. We still have Reaper to take care of that with healing. I can just pop Impervious, but the problem is we don't have Barricade in play yet, so yeah, it's kind of useless to do that right now. I think I'm just gonna go True Sword Boomerang into True Grit, and unfortunately he killed the Reaper. Not what I wanted, but yeah, what can you do? I think we'll be able to win this fight regardless. Okay, how am I gonna play this? This guy does... So there's 20 damage incoming. 21 to be precise. We will not be able to block all of it, I think. Can we kill something? Maybe. What is this? 25? 50%? Okay, is it 38 or 37? I don't actually know. Let's just try. Let's put vulnerable on this guy. And then see, it is 37. That is really unfortunate, but can we do anything else here? Current Ashes. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go for this. It's 37 damage, 1 damage short. So the 50% is actually rounded down then, which I didn't know. But it's still gonna kill because of the combust. So I just have to worry about the incoming damage of this Darkling. So I'm just gonna block the rest of the damage. And yeah, hopefully kill this guy this turn, which it does look like I'm going to be able to. I do want to kill right now. I could wait for my where is it? My Hand of Greed. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to kill. This should be enough together with that. Okay, there we go. We did use a potion. That's perfect because we get a potion. Do I want another one? I think one is enough right now. No, I'm going to take another one. I do want to get rid of another strike later on, if possible. If possible, maybe here. And when I remove that strike, my deck is going to be pretty thin when it comes to attacking cards. So I do want to add some more offensive cards to my deck. Okay, let's interact with the Glowing Tesseract. And let's look at 3 colorless cards. So in this event, you can just look at 1 colorless card. Or look at 3. Oh no, I think it's 3 options or something like that. So this looks at 3, this looks at 6, this looks at 9, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I did. So I'm just gonna sacrifice some health because we have a lot of healing in our deck as it is. So yeah, I'm just gonna look for cards that that can make my deck stronger. And I think Master of Strategy is definitely one of them. Master of Strategy is sort of like a where is it, like a Battle Trance, where you can draw cards. And it exhausts, so it works really well with our exhaust synergies. The rest of the cards, usually Flash of Steel is a pretty good card, but with Snecko Eye, it's not. It costs 0 now, but yeah, that's going to be randomized. And it's only 6 damage and draw 1 card, so it's not that great. And yeah, these cards are all pretty garbage with Snecko Eye as well, so I'm just gonna skip, leave the Tesseract, and go to the next event. Okay, we are very lucky. Very nice. We this is done the Red Mask event. If you have the Red Mask, you can get gold for free, for nothing. Just, yeah, great event. Nothing else to say about this event. Just a great freaking event. Very, very nice. Okay, let's upgrade something. I am thinking... Okay. Never upgrade Barricade in this spot. You may think, okay, it reduces the cost of Barricade, but this cost is randomized because of Snecko Eye, so yeah, there's no point in upgrading Barricade here. What you could do instead is either upgrade Impervious, Feel No Pain, or Master Strategy, and I think I'm gonna go Feel No Pain here. Feel No Pain is an amazing card, and upgrading that will help us a lot in the future. Okay, this is a difficult one. We fought one of these guys earlier, and the gimmick of these guys was that they gain strength every turn. So after each turn, just like our demon form. The problem is there's two now, and you basically have to scale faster than they do, which means we have to end the fight early. Our deck is not made to do that. Our deck is not made to fight early on. Our deck is made to wait for demon form, wait for barricade, and then slowly but surely whittle the enemy down. That's not the option here. So I'm really considering not fighting this, but I can get a rare relic, so that's pretty good. I am gonna fight this just because our potions are really, really good, and we have White Beast statue, so I'm gonna get potions no matter what. So I'm just gonna fight this and use my potions in this fight as I see fit. Let's see what kind of attack potions we get. So here, Blood for Blood is quite good, but Twin Strike is also quite good. But I think I'm gonna go Blood for Blood here. It's gonna cost 0, so yeah, that's just a free 27 damage card. I mean, you can't ask for more. I'm gonna Pommel Strike. We do have a Hand of Greed ready that can do 37, so we have to keep that in mind. So 37. I think that kills. No, yeah, I think that kills. Yeah, 37 Hand of Greed. There we go. Very, very easy money. So I'm gonna go Barricade here, because I want to be able to, in the next turns, to keep my block. Because I have Horncleat coming up, I have Impervious that I have in my deck, which gives me a lot of block in one go. So I can sacrifice that 1 health to gain more health in the future. And this is the sick thing about Reaper. Where is it? Whenever we can heal to full whenever we want with Reaper. So that is really, really powerful. So yeah, I'm just gonna load up on block cards and just tank whatever he's throwing at me. And then whenever I want to heal to full, like so, I am completely healed. And I can block. And I can block some more. And some more. So yeah, it's these cards just synergize so well right now. Okay, I want to kill this turn because I have Hand of Greed in hand. Let's see if we are able to do that, and it looks like we are. And there we go. Hand of Greed twice in one go. Easy peasy. We got a Mango, which raises our max HP by 14. So right now we almost have 100 max 100 HP. Regen pot, really, really good, and some cards. Whirlwind is pretty good, does AoE damage, especially good early on. Not so good later on in the game. Hemokinesis is good as a 1-cost attack, but it costs health. It would synergize with some of the cards that we have, like the Self-Forming Clay. But we don't care that it costs 1 because our Snecko Eye randomizes the cost. And Shockwave is just a great card in general. It applies weakness and vulnerability to enemies. And just a great way for both offensive and defensive purposes. It costs 2, which is going to be randomized, which is perfect, which is exactly what we want. So yeah, it's just a great card all around. Gonna play some armaments, headbutt to put the armaments back on top, and play strike. This is the Nemesis. Nemesis doesn't do that much yet, but if we end our turn, we can see that he gains something called intangible. Reduces all damage taken and all HP loss to 1 this turn. This is so sick. Like, he just cannot take more than 1 damage per attack that he gets. That he takes. So yeah, just a really, really powerful mechanic in this game. And that is also available to the player later on. I think with some more unlocks. That is really unfortunate. I would really have liked to play this. Maybe this was a mistake to play the Pommel Strike there. Or I should have played the Pommel Strike earlier. That could have also been a better option. I'm just going to make the most of it. I'm just going to do any damage that I can. Free demon form. Don't mind if I do. A shockwave. 5 vulnerable, 5 weak. Just massive right there. I don't really like my hand for the next turn because I don't have any defensive cards. I'm going to draw 5 cards. And there's only 5 cards in my draw pile right now. So I'm going to draw these 5 cards next turn if I don't do anything. But I can Battle Trance. And so I draw some of them right now. And now my hand is going to be a lot different. So yeah, that is something that you can, how you can influence the which cards you draw and when you draw them and stuff like that. Right here, just a turn that plays itself almost. Just get the barricade out, get the impervious out. He does his big attack now. I'm not that worried about it, to be honest. Yeah, there's nothing to be worried about in this fight anymore. We have a lot of strength already. We don't even need to Reaper because, well, he doesn't do any damage. And yeah, unfortunately, we can't use the strength gains with our sword boomerang because he is intangible this turn. We can, however, just disarm him and do stuff like that. They still do 1 damage, but yeah, it's not that great. Just get some more defense going, and yeah, I think this turn I'm gonna kill him. Maybe I'm gonna wait for the Hand of Greed. Maybe that's the play here. We don't get any damage. He will take damage from Mercury Hourglass though, so I'm not entirely certain if that's worth it. But yeah, let's just try to get a Hand of Greed off here. And yes, we will. Perfect. Okay, Toxic Egg. Very, 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 very good. Very, very good relic. Toxic Egg, very much like our Molten Egg. There's a theme there. Lets us upgrade any skill that we add to our deck. So yeah, just a great card to add to our deck. And I'm thinking of adding 1 more True Grit because we have so much exhaust synergy right now. We already have 2 disarms in our deck, so not that much of a point to add more. True Grit, however, gives us more defensive stats, which is perfect right now. Gonna go to the relic, the Dreamcatcher. Whenever you rest, you may add a card to your deck. Well, that doesn't really work because our Coffee Dripper prevents us from resting. So, yeah, I'm gonna take this relic, but I may as well have skipped it. There's no point. I think I'm gonna avoid this Campfire because there's nothing I would like to upgrade. Maybe the Master of Strategy, maybe the Impervious, but I can always upgrade those with armaments if I really need to. So I would rather take a question mark right now. To maybe fight another enemy or get a good event. As you head upwards, hoping to float along, you begin to fall. Let's continue. We lose something. So we lose one card of our deck for sure, and we just have to figure out which one is the worst. And I think at this point in time, either Combust or Pommel Strike is the worst. In situations like these, you have to ask yourself, okay, Combust is my AoE card, my area of effect card. So, am I fighting multiple enemies at the end of the act? Yes, I am. I am fighting multiple enemies, but I also, in this fight specifically, power cards are really bad. And since Combust is a power, I'm just gonna get rid of it. Because it doesn't do enough to warrant being in my deck. More over the Pommel Strike. The Disarm I wouldn't want to get rid of, but this one I would. Okay, we have another chest, a Strawberry, which raises our max HP even higher, and we are over 100 HP now, which is perfect. We are gonna go to the next boss, which is the Giant Head, and this guy has the effect of Slow. Whenever you play a card, Giant Head receives 10% more damage from attacks this turn. Yeah, just a really, really nice mechanic that lets us do a lot of damage if we play loads of cards. This turn I don't think we'll be able to do that. We'll be able to play a few though. What you want to do is always play your non-damage cards first, so the increased damage is applied, and then play your attack cards, and always from the lowest damage to the highest damage. So the percentage increase is the highest. Okay, yeah, just a easy peasy demon form, I guess. Do some bashes. Yeah, Sword Bomber doesn't really do that much. It does 2 times 4 because we are weakened this turn. So I think I'm just gonna do something like Impervious or something, and then just chill. We don't have Barricade in play yet, so any sort of armor gain is not permanent yet. And also in this round, I'm just gonna prep. I'm just gonna play Feel No Pain and then play a Sword Boomerang, just because we already have 3 strength, so it's a little bit more damage than it would usually do. Then we have the Barricade. Let's play it, and then play Strike. So the low damage attacks first. Strike, Strike. I'm gonna play the Bash, and then the Pommel Strike. Am I gonna play the Pommel Strike? Sure, why not? Okay. Hey, we got 6 block from Orichalcum because we didn't have any block. And Giant Head is getting angry. So Giant Head is at some point he gets more and more angry, and he does more and more damage. So yeah, you're sort of on a timer to do a certain amount of damage to him as quickly as possible. I think we're still good. Like you can see the damage here. It's not that big yet, but it is going to ramp up pretty quickly. So yeah, let's just try and finish this as soon as possible. We have 12 strength. That's a lot of strength. So yeah, I think we should be able to do this pretty quickly. So right now here we have the question, do I want to do 27 times 4 damage? Or do I want to block everything? That's pretty much the question that I'm asking myself right now. The rest of our deck is not that great, so I think I just want to do damage and just kill it as fast as possible. Take a little bit of damage. Do we have any defensive cards? No, we don't. Okay, no. In that case, if we don't have any defense, then let's just go defense now and then block the rest of the damage that way. With the headbutt, we can always get back the Sword Boomerang. So that is always an option. And I think that's actually the option that I'm going to use right now. True Grit for some more block. Then Strike. Then Headbutt for a Sword. I could have gone Hand of Greed. I misplayed that. But that doesn't matter. Let's just roll with it. Let's just do bash, sword boomerang, and that's it. Bronze scales. Start each combat with 3 thorns. Thorns is a effect that damages enemies whenever they attack me. So yeah, it's gonna be really valuable in any sort of fight where they attack me, which is every single fight. Yeah, these card effects are not that great. Pommel could be used probably. Because it deals 2 damage 5 times, so it's sort of like a sword boomerang. But yeah, I can use sword boomerang more often, and this one exhausts, so yeah. I don't know, not that big a fan. The blood potion, I am getting a duplication potion, which is amazing, which can just duplicate a card that I'm playing. So if I want 2 demon forms, I play this card, play a demon form, and then I have 2 in play. So absolutely amazing. So I want this duplication pot. So I look, okay, what is the worst of these potions right now? And now that I'm thinking about it, I think it might be the regen pot. Because the regen pot lets me regen over several turns. In the first turn you heal 5, the second turn 4, the third turn 3. So how much is that? That's like 12, 15. So this heals me for 15 in total. The issue is, this heals me for 20% of my max HP. Because we have so much max HP, this heals me for 20. So I am going to discard, and this is instant. So I'm going to discard the regen pot, take the duplication pot, and yeah, that is it. Again, we have a lot of money here. Don the Red Mask gave us a lot of money. And yeah, just gonna buy some stuff. What am I gonna buy? I mean, not much. That's for sure. I'm gonna remove a card. I'm gonna remove the strike. That is for sure. Because there's not much in the store that I want. We don't have strikes. We don't need this type of block card. We don't need this type of block card. We already have several of these type of block cards. This is shite. Well, this can be good, but not in our deck. Also shite. This is generally a good relic. It's every time you place 3 attacks in a single turn, gain 1 strength, but we already have so much strength gain with demon form in play, so yeah, we don't really need that. So I'm debating between these 2 relics right now. We have great potions, so we don't want that. So I'm thinking about buying a med kit just to be able to remove status effects whenever I need to. Or maybe Bottled Flame to add an attack card to our hand from the start. But which one would I want? Bash? I mean, it's not Hand of Greed, right? How many hallway fight? Just one more hallway fight and then the boss, the final boss. I'm not sure. I think I'm gonna go medkit here. Just because I want to be able to remove status effects whenever they are applied. I think Shuriken might still be the best option here. Even though we don't really use this, I think it's still the best option. Medkit against Awakened one is not that great. Because I don't think he puts any things in our decks. So yeah, let's just go and ahead and fight the Maw. Let's see. Okay, free disarm. That's great. True Grit. Let's play a Battle Trance, see what we get. That looks so much better. Demon Form, Shockwave, bash. Let's go. Remove a strike with exhausting it. That looks great. Okay, that's just silly. We can play armaments to upgrade the barricades. Play the barricades. And I think just sword boomerang. just dealing some damage here. Yeah, we're not going to be able to kill this turn, but we are going to be able to do good damage. Sword boomerang does a lot of damage now already as well. And yeah, I don't really want master strategy. I'm just going to block for some more block. Yeah, sure. More sword boomerang. 13 times 4, that's so much. It's ridiculous. So I just wanted to get rid of the... I would have liked to draw something, but I forgot that that I played Battle Trance before, so I can't actually draw any more cards. So yeah, we're slowly but surely getting some strength gain, and I'm just gonna finish this guy off. There's no point in playing this slowly and waiting for Hand of Greed because there's no shops after this, so I can't really spend my spend any of the cash that I get. So yeah, I'm just gonna finish him off now. Yeah, just for shits and giggles, let's do Reaper, because we weren't at full HP anyway. Yeah, I don't want any of these cards. This is too slow in comparison to Demon Form, so I'm just gonna leave. Attack Potion, maybe over Blood Potion. I think the Blood Potion is not that great here. Yeah, I mean, we've not lost any HP in a long time now, so there's no point. We upgrade our True Grit. I think True Grit is one of the only upgrades I would consider here, together with the Master Strategy and maybe the Impervious. The good thing about True Grit upgrading is that you go from 7 block to 9 block and exhausting a random card to choosing a card you want to upgrade or you want to exhaust. So yeah, that is amazing to be able to choose what you want to get rid of. If it's like if you can get rid of a strike that way, I mean, that is amazing. So the gimmick in this fight is that the Awakened One, which is the final boss of our of this run of Slay the Spire, is he gains power every time we play a power card. So he gains strength every time we play a power card. But our power cards are pretty much what makes our deck good, so we still have to play it. So right now he does 15 damage. If I play another power, this barricade, then he does 16 damage, and so on and so forth. But yeah, like I said, we still have to play our power cards, so yeah, we don't really have a choice. This is actually the time when Shuriken comes into effect. We're playing 3 attacks in one turn. So yeah, that's yeah, we can actually make use of the Shuriken and actually gain some strength that way. I'm gonna play the True Grit, get rid of the Master of Strategy. And that was just to full block here. I'm probably gonna use the Attack Potion this turn. Inflame, also another power. So yeah, this guy is getting really strong. Let's have a look. I would like to have the Bludgeon, please. 36 kills off this minion, easy peasy, no worries. Kill off that minion, and then Demon Form. He does more damage, but yeah, hey, why not? Maybe I could have doubled the demon form here, but I mean, I don't think it matters that much. I think this fight is pretty much over at this point. I'm gonna play armaments to play disarm, or am I gonna play impervious? I'm definitely gonna play shockwave. That's for sure. I think disarm and defend here is the way to go. I would like to play the sword boomerang, but yeah, not enough energy. Okay, yeah, I think there's just sword boomerangs into true grids. So let's do true grid, let's remove the anger. And then just 2 sword boomerangs that just deal a massive amount of damage. Okay, yeah, we are getting super strong right now. I think this is another turn where we can get strength gain from our shuriken, because we have a lot of 0-cost attacks. There we go, and that's a strength gain. We play the defend here just because we do have the barricade in play, so any sort of strength that we, or any sort of defense that we gain, we can just keep. Yeah, so now it's going to be a little bit tricky. So one thing that I would like to change here is sure card quick select keys. Yes, that's exactly what I want. So now it's going to show numbers above the cards here, and I would like to be able to know how many cards I can draw. You can have 10 cards in your hand, so if I play this, I have 6 cards left, plus 4 is 10, so I can play this without wasting any cards. And I would just like to know what I'm able to play and what I'm not able to play in this turn. So Sword Boomerang does a ridiculous amount of damage already. I would like to block this, but yeah, Impervious. Let's just play Impervious and then just play Bludgeon and Hand of Greed to deal some damage. We full block here. I think next turn he's gonna do a multi-attack, if I remember correctly. Oh no, he's gonna do a status effect here. I didn't know that. We don't have any vulnerability on him anymore. So one thing I didn't explain in this fight, he has 2 phases. You kill him once, and that's the normal phase. And then he comes back to life and goes into like attack mode. Like he does a fuck ton of damage and just a lot of damage. But yeah, it's basically the same thing. You just damage him continually, and I think this kills. No, it doesn't yet. But if I upgrade it, it does. Let's go. Aw, yeah. Slay the Spire run completed. Our first one. Let's proceed. And let's look at the final score. Okay. Let's look at the scoreboard. Victory? Question mark. Okay, we get a certain amount of XP from this run, depending on our score, I think. I'm not entirely certain about that. The amount of floors climbed, enemies slain, elites killed, city elites killed. I don't even know what that is. Yeah, I usually don't look at this screen too much. Some are really obvious, well fed. Yeah. States it right there. Get more than 1,000 gold. We definitely had that, especially with Hand of Greed. So yeah, this was our first Slay the Spire run. We unlocked some cards. This was the what is this character called again? Ironclad. The Ironclad. We unlocked another character now, which we can play the next time. And yeah, I think yeah, that's something else. So the next time we can also play the silent. The playstyle I think is completely different, but yeah, also very interesting. And yeah, my plan is to just go through these runs one at a time and just continually increase the ascension level. Ascension is something you can see down here. The runs get harder as you win. So this ranges from level 1 to 20, and yeah, I'm planning to just do these runs every once in a while, probably in the evenings when I'm online, and it's either going to be this or an FTL run or a league at the moment, I think. So yeah, if you enjoyed this type of content, then please like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitch, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Okay, see you later, guys. Bye.